Hey fighters! You're watching WrestleWire 24/7, your go-to for everything WWE. Subscribe, tap the bell, and let's dive deep. The arena lights dimmed, leaving the night's energy suspended in the air. Though the cameras had stopped rolling, the story hadn't fully ended. Saturday night's main event had concluded, the crowd had cheered, and the tributes had been delivered. Yet, behind the scenes, in the hushed corridors of the arena, a quieter, more profound story was unfolding, a story that didn't require a spotlight to be felt. John Cena, still in his wrestling gear, sat alone on a production crate, his gaze fixed on the floor. The finality of the night's events seemed to settle on his shoulders like a heavy cloak. Years of giving everything to the ring, countless battles and moments of triumph and heartbreak had brought him to this point. The energy of the crowd, the applause, the cheers, all of it had vanished, leaving only silence and reflection. A meeting of two eras. It was then that Roman Reigns appeared. Having already changed out of his formal attire, he approached Cena with the kind of quiet respect that had always defined their relationship. Over the years, they had faced one another in the ring, passing the torch in moments that defined eras. Their connection was more than professional. It was a mutual understanding, forged from carrying the weight of the company, from being both leaders and symbols to fans around the world. Now, with Cena's in-ring journey officially concluding, the nature of their relationship seemed to hang in the air. Were they merely former rivals, or was there something deeper? An unspoken bond formed through shared dedication and sacrifice. The answer would emerge in the stillness of this moment, away from the cameras and the audience, where only honesty and respect mattered. The silence between giants. For a long moment, neither man spoke. The silence wasn't uncomfortable. It was heavy with meaning. Words, as often happens in moments of genuine understanding, felt almost unnecessary. Cena's shoulders relaxed slightly, his body tired yet composed, as if the weight of years spent in the spotlight was finally being acknowledged. Roman finally broke the silence, his voice softer than usual, stripped of the confidence and bravado that defined his public persona. "Tough way to end it," he said, not as a taunt or challenge, but as a recognition of the weight of Cena's career and the courage required to walk away. Cena let out a laugh, genuine and tired, looking up at Reigns with a mixture of gratitude and resignation. "Someone had to," he replied quietly. "Couldn't leave you with that loose end." Respect beyond competition. The moment that followed was not about victories or defeats, nor about who had been the better wrestler or the more dominant figure. It was about legacy, responsibility, and understanding one another on a level few ever get to experience. "What you did tonight, that was the right move," Reigns said, his tone measured, deliberate. He wasn't referring to the scripted outcomes or storylines. He was acknowledging the weight of Cena's choices, his moral authority, and the example he set both inside and outside the ring. Cena met Reigns' gaze, silent but fully present. He understood. "It was the only move," he replied. "This place, it needs a conscience, now more than ever." Reigns nodded, stepping closer. "It has one," he said, referring not just to Cena, but to himself as well, just louder and wearing a different uniform. There was an acknowledgment here, an unspoken recognition that leadership could take many forms, that the torch Cena carried for so long had been passed into capable hands. Passing the torch. "You held the torch so I could build a kingdom from it," Reigns continued. There was no boastfulness in his voice, only honesty and gratitude. Cena's influence, his guidance, and his example had shaped Reigns' path, giving him the tools to carry forward while staying true to his own identity. Cena absorbed the words, nodding slowly. In that moment, there was no pretense, no scripted dialogue, only a shared acknowledgment of the journey they had undertaken. Years of rivalry, mentorship, and mutual respect culminated in a simple human exchange, a passing of the torch in the quiet aftermath of the spectacle. Closure and continuity. This was a goodbye that didn't need fanfare. It was private, meaningful, and complete. Cena, who had defined an era, finally closed that chapter with dignity and grace. Reigns, standing in the space left behind, recognized the enormity of what had come before him and the responsibility he now carried. The future was beginning to take shape in that hallway. Not with the roar of the crowd or the flash of cameras, but with quiet words, meaningful glances, and a shared understanding between two men who had both shaped and would continue to shape the world of professional wrestling. The past, in this moment, was not a burden. It was a foundation. And the present, charged with new energy and leadership, was ready to grow from it. A shared legacy. The corridor eventually emptied, leaving behind echoes of footsteps and the faint hum of an arena settling into night. Yet the significance of the encounter lingered, a reminder that true leadership, true greatness, and true respect aren't defined by cheers or spotlight moments alone. They are forged in quiet reflection, in choices made when no one is watching, and in the mutual recognition of effort, courage, and integrity. Cena had left a mark, not just in the ring, but in the hearts of those who followed him, and in the hands of the one who would continue the story. Reigns had inherited more than a role. He had inherited a responsibility, a legacy, and the wisdom of someone who had carried the torch before him. The future begins. As the lights dimmed for good and the night's final echoes faded, it was clear that the WWE Universe was entering a new chapter. The past had been honored, the present acknowledged, and the future now awaited, built on the foundation of respect, dedication, and shared experience. In that hallway, far from cameras and crowds, two men, each a pillar of their era, had spoken without pretense, embraced the weight of their journeys, and left behind a moment that would define the path forward. It was quiet, emotional, and profoundly human. The era of John Cena may have concluded in the ring, but its spirit, its lessons, and its integrity would live on through Roman Reigns and the generations to come. The night was over, but the story of legacy, respect, and the passing of the torch had only just begun.